Hey everybody, watch out. Might get hit by a snowball today here in Eau Claire. Had something kind of funny just happened to me. I wanted to show off because it was in my car. I didn't plan to make this part of the chat, but a couple years ago I made something for Thanksgiving that people really liked. And so I made them last night. Look at this, look at this. Whoa, huh? They're called, they're like lemon bars, but with cranberries. They're called cranberry lemon bars. And this is this picnic table I'm sitting at was full of snow, right? So I used this to kind of push the snow off, so I could, and then all the snow went onto the cranberry bars. So hopefully the pollution's not too bad. But I think I was able to get it pretty much off. So the things that happen when we try to do something good, right? Sometimes they backfire. So it's not Thanksgiving week yet, that's next week, but I'm kind of been thinking about Thanksgiving, so that put me in the mood to make those bars. There's someone walking their dog up there. Can you tell where I am? Isn't it beautiful here? See where I am? I don't know where the best, I always block the view, right? It's like, get out of the way so we can see. So this is the beach at Half Moon Lake. And I don't know why I didn't sit on I was here maybe a couple of years ago for the chat, and I remember sitting on the beach, and I was just on the. It was very awkward with my posture, and I can just sit at a table. They must not have the tables up back then. Anyway, wish I'd brought some gloves. Wait a minute. No, it's another hat. Thought maybe I had gloves in my. Because I was throwing snowballs at you, I got my hands cold, so it's my own fault again. Hey, but I have a bunch of stuff to talk about, some parish news. We're talking about Thanksgiving though, so we're getting in the mood. We're going to have our ecumenical Thanksgiving service with the good folks at Good Shepherd Lutheran. That's always a tradition that precedes me, and I love it. And Pastor Josh seems to love it. And last year they were at our place and he preached. This time we'll be over at their place and I'll preach. So I think it's on Cedar. It's just 2 blocks, like three blocks from St. James to the southwest. So I look forward to, I hope people go. You know, typically when it's at your house, a lot of people go, and then there aren't that many from the other place that come. And this time it's at their house. So typically they'll have more people than us. So I hope, you know, if you're from Eau Claire, you don't have to be from either parish. It's just a nice ecumenical Thanksgiving service. It's really the only thing we do prayer-wise ecumenically, so it's pretty important to me that we keep doing that and have a good show of it. So anyway, that's a big deal. Then we will have Mass on Thanksgiving morning at 9 o'clock. I'll probably chat next week on Tuesday because Wednesday is a full day. Lots of stuff going on. We had 2 deaths in the parish in the last week, so we have their funerals next week. On Tuesday, it'll be a man named Lorenz Schreier. And it's kind of interesting. He wrote me a note several years ago, or maybe not that long ago, two years ago maybe. And he said, I've enjoyed reading your articles in the paper. I still read, they don't seem to want to, they don't publish the clergy columns anymore. But for a while there, I had a good run of several years of like 7 years writing columns for them. And anyway, he wrote them, and he just said he liked it, and then there was a big check in there just for the parish, you know. And you know, my mom always said you should go visit him. I'm not sure why, but she was kind of stuck on this. When she'd lose track of a lot of things, she would always remember, did you visit that man yet? And I said, well no, he's not in the parish. I wrote him a long thank you note and a letter, and so I thought that was sufficient. Well, then I just found out he died, you know. And though he wasn't a member of our parish, we'll have his funeral on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we'll have, there's a street sign. It says, pet owners must clean up after their animals. I'm trying to hit that sign with my left-handed snowball throws. Did you hear it? I hit it. So, but sorry, we're talking about something more serious. So Rita Brantner, whose husband Mark, we had his funeral and burial in Mondovi, funeral here, burial in Mondovi, not so long ago, like less than a year ago, I think. And now it's Rita. Sometimes I lose track of time, especially with COVID. I'm sure you find the same. But they were great. Rita and Mark, they were just kind of a nice don't know if meek is the right word, but unassuming maybe. Salt of the earth type folks, and really well liked by her family and by friends. A lot of time in Mondovi before they moved to Eau Claire. And I remember when I moved to Eau Claire 8 years ago, I was, kind of lonely. It's hard starting in a new city, and I just was out at Menards, had to buy some stuff, and Mark and Rita were there, and I didn't recognize them, but they said, "Oh, you're our new priest," and they were just so happy and welcoming to me, and it really helped make me feel at home, So I just nicked it. So anyway, her funeral will be on Wednesday at Lauren's will be at 1:30 Tuesday, and Rita's at 11 o'clock Wednesday. We also had a death in the parish of Bob Showalter, his wife Jean, a lot of new, and then Bob. His funeral, he lived in Chippewa Falls the last couple of years in a nursing facility, so I think they'll be handling the funeral. Let's see. Hey, snow. See, did you notice that I mentioned that it's snowing here? We don't have anyone to shovel our sidewalks. The guy that did it last year, we were kind of thinking, we were kind of thinking he would do it, and so I called him, and he didn't call back, and then I texted him a couple weeks later, and he said, "Oh, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore." He was a guy we hired from outside the parish. Anyway, we've had a good run with people doing a great job. It's just and something we're certainly willing to pay. But if anybody from the parish or outside the parish would like to do that, we have good equipment. We got a tractor with a brush on it for most snow events. Sometimes you get really dumped on, like 12 inches or something. Then we have a plow we attach. But all the equipment's there, and so people are willing to work with you and help. If you think that might be a good thing for you, it'd be a great thing for us to know we had somebody we could depend on. And once again, I'll tell you what, this sounds like just someone griping about bad luck, but when's the next big snow event? The one that I saw, Saturday night into Sunday. It just seems like, there, hit it. It just seems to me like there is more snow. If there's any 24-hour period where we get the most snow, it's always Saturday into Sunday morning. And that's tough for churches, right? Because you got the snow removal dilemmas. It looks like that might happen again this year. And we have some people that can do it in a pinch. So we thank Mike and Tim and other people who have been able to step up and do that. Anyway, that's a big thing. I should have led with that. I hope people heard that. If you know anybody, you can let us know. Let's see. Oh, I should backtrack to Thanksgiving. I'll mention this next week too, but just for kicks, so you can plan ahead. There'll be a Thanksgiving dinner planned at St. James. Just come. No, you don't have to call. Just come, like at 1 o'clock. The meal will be served, turkey and all that stuff. And then I think to encourage fellowship and hanging around and chatting, they're not going to serve dessert until 3. So if you want your pie, you got to talk to people for a little while, and then you get your pie. So that's next week. There's that. Other big thing to emphasize, you've been hearing it if you've been going to church or seeing our video mass. So I walked through church today, and all the pews are covered. I heard there was so much dust, so I just licked my finger, and there's plastic over the pews, and I just ran my hand along the plastic, and sure enough, it was full of dust. And so there's a need for a lot of work. So we're gonna have a work evening Friday, 4 to 8. Christine's sort of engineering the schedule and the work teams and all that, and judging on how many people will come, it's how many pizzas she'll order to see us through the dinner time. So 4 to 8, some hard work. It's one of those things, if you got, especially what they're a little short on is mops, I guess, but if you have like a bucket and water, some rags, maybe a mop, bring that stuff. But if you don't, but you're willing to work, show up, and then we have stuff, and Christine says no doubt you'll be put to good use. And then Saturday, the final push before we open her up and have people back in for church at the Saturday 4:30 Mass, so from 8 till 3 to kind of do the end work, and that'll be good. Sharon's making some soup, and Shirley's bringing in. It's debated. We don't know what Shirley's bringing in. I thought it was pulled pork. Other people said it's sandwiches. So we'll see. It's Shirley's surprise. So it'll be great. Thanks for everybody for who can come. But there's been some. I had someone come up to me last week and said, you should just hire a professional cleaners because nobody's going to come. You're going to get 2 people. And I guess we're willing to gamble on our people that there'll be more than 2 people come. Well, we'll see. You know what? I'm going to cover. Can you tell it's snowing? I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not, but I'm going to cover those lemon bars. We'll get a puddle on my lemon cranberry bars, and then that'll be no good at all. We broke open 1 pan at the staff meeting today, and they seemed to like it, so that was good. I actually followed the recipe better this year. Last time it's the ingredients, it said like I don't know, 1.5 cups of sugar or something like that. So I put 1.5 cups of sugar in the cranberries, and then later to make the lemon filling, it said add the rest of the sugar. I'm like, what do you mean the rest of the sugar? So it was the rest of the 1.5 cups. I guess up there it just said add a half, or it's tough. You gotta follow the directions closely. We are. You'll get a newsletter if you're in the parish and you're on our mailing list. We're going to send it out tomorrow afternoon. That'll be nice. I mentioned last week I had show and tell with all the goods from Bethlehem. They were for sale last Sunday, and some people have come by the office during the week and have bought some stuff. There's really a good supply left of things for sure. So that again, that's a good cause. The good unique Christmas gifts for people for sure. Healing Mass. We realized at the last minute, I was talking to Patrice, I'm like, hey, we didn't do a Healing Mass this year because you're new and Jackie left, and we saw Jackie today. It was great to see her. It's nice that she retired from staff, but she's still so active and visible in the community. A real gift to us. And anyway, we're going to do a Healing Mass with anointing of the sick, the sacrament on Tuesday, a week from yesterday. Right? Yeah, Tuesday the 22nd at 9 a.m. So earlier than we usually do it, but 9 a.m. with the reception to follow. So it'll be just at our regular Tuesday Mass time. And then Dove West. This will be our last 9 o'clock Mass in church on Thursdays. This not tomorrow, but also Thanksgiving. But after Thanksgiving, Advent starts. And we're going to go back to our previous schedule, which was Mass of the Day for the parish is at Dove West, which is a care center. And it's attached to Orchard Hills, which is an assisted living center. And honestly, outside of the weekends, it's really my favorite Mass of the week. It's just a lot of faith, a lot of opportunities to raise spirits, and so they raise my spirits more than I raise their spirits, but. It's just a good opportunity to pray in solidarity with people in their physical weakness, and to bring the parish to them who can't go into the parish. And so I think we embraced it pretty well as a parish when I started that, 7 years ago. And then we had to suspend it because we weren't allowed to go into the nursing home during COVID. But now they're allowing us again. So you can just come for Mass if you'd like to do a little more than that and volunteer. They need people to get residents from their rooms if they're in wheelchairs and help them down to the, it's sort of a large conference room where we set up. I think it's quite a dignified place. There's a crucifix on the wall that we put up and a microphone, and it's good. There's a piano too if anybody wants to play piano for those Masses. And then after Mass to take the residents back to their rooms. It's just something that's a good service, and I think enjoyable for most people to be able to help out in that way. So that's all starting up Thursday after Thanksgiving, a week from Thanksgiving. That'll be at 10 o'clock though, not at 9. Speaking about getting back into church, so a couple things. One, I had just kind of a nice experience today. I was walking through, you walk through church, it's all under construction, so, like I said, all the pews are covered in plastic, and just a different kind of feel, of course. but we have to cut through church to get from the parish offices over to the school and the gathering space. I don't like that architecture. Whenever you want to go anywhere, you got to just cross right in front of the altar. But in a way, it makes you, and there's a great tradition at St. James, again, that predated me. I think almost everybody, when they cross the altar, I mean like right next to the altar, we stop and you face the altar and you bow. So you don't just whiz by it, Except the uninitiated don't know to do that, but usually they're with somebody and they learn right away. Speaking of the uninitiated, we're going to have our rite of welcome in RCIA this weekend. We have a really nice group. Jackie sort of set the stage, and now Patrice and Steve Dickoff are leading this group as their catechists, and we will have a brief rite of welcome for them at the 8 o'clock Mass this weekend. Ooh, way off. So I was walking through church, and then I went through the gathering space. I was going to go out to get the car and come over here, and I saw the red sanctuary candle was lit and burning in the corner by our ossuary, which we use for funerals with cremations. Beautiful wooden box that we put the urn inside and then we carry. But right in that corner where we keep that ossuary was the sanctuary lamp, and that's where the tabernacle's been during the church construction, for lack of a better word. And the Blessed Sacrament's there, right? The sanctuary, that's why the candle was lit. They call it the sanctuary candle, sanctuary lamp, tabernacle candle. And I don't know, it just kind of surprised me. It was very quiet, it was dark in there, and I thought, oh, there's Jesus. There's Jesus in our sacrament. And I liked that. I remember I was in Boston once, years ago, like 25 years ago, and I was just walking around downtown, and where all the tallest buildings in Boston are, and I walked in kind of a bank plaza, for lack of a better word. I think maybe it was the John Hancock Tower. I don't know, but it was kind of like shops on the main floor and then offices above, And I just noticed on the left there was all these glass doors, and then I looked through them. Like, there wasn't any solid doors, just all glass, all transparent. And there was an altar, and it was church, and then a tabernacle behind the altar, and candle lit. I thought, so I went in and I prayed. And anyway, I love it. I just love that. Kind of in the midst of all this busy, and buying and selling and all that, was this place just to kind of come in and pray and be one place where we believe Jesus is. It's not like Jesus isn't anywhere else, but there's certainly a specific location. I remember I had a teacher in the seminary. He said, it's not like I don't think I can pray to Jesus in the basement of my house or sitting on the washing machine or something. But whenever there's something really important that's been going on in my life where I've had to pray, I always seem to find myself getting to a church and sitting by the tabernacle. So it's a gift that we have, right? So there's that. Yet fragile. Oh, well, I got a couple things I'd kind of announce. So I have some friends in Menominee called the Schwartzes, and they are going to sponsor a refugee from Ukraine, or a refugee family. And they said, if you meet anybody that would maybe like to do that or put the word out, we can get them connected. So I got this little announcement letter. I'll just read what I highlighted. Back in April, the U.S. government announced Uniting for Ukraine. This is a program for people fleeing the war in Ukraine to apply to come to the U.S. with the support of a sponsor. So they're going to do this sponsor. They're looking community-wide for support. And if anyone is so inclined to act as primary sponsors for another family, we could work together to welcome more than one family, which would have many benefits for everyone. So I don't know, maybe you watch this and you think, boy, I think I have the time, the interest, the passion to maybe pursue that a little bit. I could connect you with them if you want to do that. We do have our 3 foreign exchange students for the year. They continue to be a gift to our community. Lily from Slovakia, and Igne from Lithuania, and Valerie from Ukraine. She's from Lviv. which probably nobody would have known where that was until a year ago. Now we all know where Lviv is. So, see, I felt like there was some other stuff. We had a nice, I hate to just sort of pat ourselves on the back, because there's, but we did get a nice article written about our parish last week. We had that fella, Father Sweetser, the Jesuit from Milwaukee, who came and sat with our pastoral council, sat with me, sat with our staff on different days. We prayed and reflected together. And, you know, I'll just read excerpts. This is his little report that he wrote and published. He sent it out as a newsletter. So he said the blend of a warm, he said it's like a gem of a parish, he said. The blend of a warm and inviting pastor, an enthusiastic creative staff, a group of dedicated and committed lay leaders, and a community of welcoming and openness all work together to create a sense of church well beyond the ordinary. And I just kind of do a mishmash of quotes. People in the back pews even sing out. That doesn't happen in a typical parish. Parish motto is all are welcome, and people really take this to heart. The previous pastor was very justice-minded, so the parishioners became justice-minded as well, Father Schultz. Parish Council Catholic Women's very active. Began with the previous pastors, very energetic, and got things started. We have 3 groups that work at homeless shelters. We have a group that deals with environmental issues. And I can say they reach out to our seniors, and they have a new ministry to the sick, calling the hospitals, seeing who's there. The key ingredients of the parish are hospitality, community, supporting people through difficult times, creativity, open-mindedness, wonderful liturgies, and strong singing. Some of these are his observations, and some are quotes of people that he interviewed. So, and then I just said we have a grief support group. This is, I guess, the thing that I said. We have a grief support group, which got started all on its own. I had nothing to do with it. That's just one, and it's been doing very well and serving a lot of people. That's just one example of how people take initiative at St. James Parish. Anyway, that was kind of neat. I don't mean to blow our horn or anything. You know, I'll tell you, I don't know why, but sometimes I just feel like community life can just be so fragile. It can become so divided so quickly. And I'm aware of that. And maybe because we just had the election or something, I'm feeling that. But, you know, I don't take any of this for granted. So I just think we have to continually try to be that welcoming presence, that serving presence in our parish for others and community, and really call ourselves to greater discipleship always. Yeah. So that's good. I had something else. I know I did. Well, something that I thought, I went to a concert. Lyle Lovett came to Eau Claire, and a man named John Hyatt. Lyle Lovett is probably a little more famous than John Hyatt, but he's a nationally known kind of blues guy too. They're both in their maybe upper 60s now. But I liked what he said about I think he's just a grandfather for the first time, something like that, or if not for the first time. He was reflecting about being a grandfather when your own children have a baby, and he said, you know what the best thing about being a grandfather is, or a grandparent? And he said, it's not like everybody says that you can just sort of have fun with the children, but then you go home and you have to deal with all the problems and discipline and, you know, all that. And he said, I guess that's a perk, but I think what the best thing is, when my daughter gave birth, was realizing that now she knew how much she was loved when she was born. Isn't that kind of a neat? I've never heard anyone put it that way. He said, my favorite thing about watching my daughter have a baby was knowing that now she realized how much she was loved when she was born, how much we loved her when she was born. You know, sometimes it takes a while to realize, even as we grow up, right? We kind of know our parents love us, or hopefully we do. and then maybe it is when you're a parent again, or just be when you mature a little bit and think about life, when you're able to empathize more and know people's stories, you realize that they just don't love you in a sentimental way, but they made sacrifices for you. They put their life on hold. You were the center of their lives. They provided for you materially and emotionally and with their time and money, all those things. And that's not easy to do that. And you say, wow, you really... That's why we have Mother's Day. That's why we have Father's Day, right? To recognize the sacrifice that our parents make for us, you know. Which gets back to thanks. And I just close with that. And I know next week will still be before Thanksgiving, but in case I forget, there's this Meister Eckhart. He lived before and after 1300, I think, in Germany. He's known as one of the Rhineland mystics. And he had a lot of great thoughts about God and prayer. And one of the things he said about prayer, and I think I have to paraphrase because I didn't write it down, but he said, if the only prayer that you utter during your whole lifetime is thank you, that would be enough. If the only prayer you utter in your whole lifetime is thank you, that would be enough. And I wrote that in the bulletin this weekend too, but I thought that's a nice quote. On the one hand, it sounds kind of minimalist, like, okay, I said thank you, now I don't have to pray anymore. You know, if you have that kind of practical. I still remember this one guy in college who said, Father, what's the least I have to do to get to heaven? It's like, bad question. So if that's the way you approach that quote, that's not good. But I just think if you get to the point of saying thank you, it presupposes a lot. Mainly that you know you're in relationship with God, that God is real, you're in relationship with God, God is good, God loves you enough to provide for you, and God loved you enough in our Christian tradition, certainly, to sacrifice for you, gave his life for us. And then you come to the trust, you know? So just that simple thank you, if it, you know, really kind of from the heart, if it the background is realizing all that other stuff, you know, maybe it is really kind of an all-inclusive prayer, you know, of appreciation and of relationship, of depth of trust, when we really realize what we've been given and we say thanks. So, why don't I leave it at that for now? Wow, there's a lot of snow on that bag over my lemon cranberry bars, so I'll give you a look-see at this beautiful scene. Okay. And as the snow falls on this beautiful scene, we do thank you, God, for being here now, for being able to have the time to listen to reflections on faith. Help us to have more gratitude in our hearts. Help us to have experiences that lead to gratitude, especially those who have been wounded in life and maybe realistically compare themselves to others and say, I seem to have gotten the short end of the deal. And it's hard to be thankful in those situations, maybe. So be with them. Be with all the world that suffers this day. Life can be difficult. Walk with us, O God. Help us to know that we are loved. Invite us to trust in you, your constant presence with us. Help us to use our lives well for your glory. Let us never be separated from you. God bless you.